Welcome, everyone, for another edition of Get Creative with JH Creative. I am one of your hosts, Chrissy Souders, joined here by marketing expert and enthusiast, Julia Holly. Thank you so much for being here, everyone, and watching. So, Julia, we've got a great guest today. I'm super excited because it has to do with being in a kitchen.
Absolutely, yes. First off, I'll introduce myself. My name is Julia Holly. I'm owner and designer for JH Creative. I'm a marketing consultant, and I've been a designer for 14 plus years. And I've been independent and running my business for almost 7 years now. And I wanted to start the show JH Creative because I wanted to inspire folks to get creative with helping them solve any kind of problem that comes their way. And one of the reasons why I want to introduce Carrie Fraser here is because she is really a guru when it comes to ideas in the kitchen and cooking. Really, we both can relate because we both have 4 kids, and she does a lot of fun stuff on her social media channels as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Carrie, and I want her to talk about her background first and then take it from there.
Hey, thank you both so much for having me on today. I'm so excited to share some things about cooking and being in the kitchen and just kind of balancing work and momhood and still being a human and really just making it all work. I was not a cook when I started doing this, and sometimes I think the best teachers are the folks who weren't experts in their field when they started their studies, right? So I've been with Pampered Chef for just over 6 years. When I started, I only had 3 kids. And honestly, I was so just looking for something for me. And I had started cooking because I thought that chicken nuggets and mac and cheese weren't justifiable meals every day anymore. And the kids couldn't survive on wine and goldfish. So we had to start cooking some food. And as I started asking friends what they used a lot of Pampered Chef products. So no one I knew was hosting a party. So I went ahead and called a consultant and said, hey, listen, I need to learn how to cook. I'm hearing so many great things about stoneware. What can you tell me? What can we do? And she said, listen, the best thing is for me to show you by getting in your kitchen and hosting a party. So I did, and then I hosted another party, and then I joined. And because I love the products, they make cooking so much easier and really inspired me to get in and to discover that it wasn't that I couldn't cook, it's just that I didn't know what I was doing.
And the same, I could relate to because I was kind of thrown into motherhood sooner than expected. My husband and I were married for like 5 or 6 months, and then we got pregnant, surprise. And so, yeah, having to adjust and adapt and having several kids along the way too, and planning life and planning meals was definitely stressful. But eventually I figured some things out. And also after moving here to Tallahassee, I met Carrie just because of our kids being in the same school. And she's just so friendly and outgoing and fun to be with. And I think I had probably joined spontaneously to a friend's Pampered Chef party, and that's how I met you. And from there, I just kind of joined the Pampered Chef bandwagon. My sister used to sell the products too. My mom loved the products. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And it was so much fun. And I eventually threw a party with you. And ever since then, all my stuff, half my stuff is Pampered Chef. Thanks to Carrie. So if I can pull up the slides again, I wanted to share some of my favorite products. And then we're going to talk about a recipe that Carrie's going to show us. And after that, we're going to show some tips and strategies that she highly recommends for meal planning. So one of my favorite products that I have that she somehow, I think I added this to the list last minute before putting my order in last time, but I love this thing. My daughter and I make smoothies. It kind of has helped us survive through the summer, pretty much, for shortcut meals. And I even tested recently the heating feature. I was a little kind of nervous about it, but I loved it. I used it for a pizza sauce, and it was amazing. And then, of course, the quick cooker, their version of the Instant Pot, the very popular product, right? But the quick cooker, I really like. I have used for rice and chili and sauces. It has saved my life this summer, even with the shutdown. Just making things super easy for me and making enough for the family to feed enough for a couple days or so. So highly recommend that. And the steamer baskets, I love the hard-boiled egg thing where you just put in a bunch of hard-boiled eggs and just steam it for what? I don't know. Some people, it varies like 5 minutes or so, and hard-boiled eggs cook so well in there. And the shell, the secret to taking off the eggshells, right? Super fast. And then this thing I use all the time. I don't even know what it's called. The masher. Right, Carrie? You can correct me.
Oh, mix and chop.
The mix and chop, right. And then this one I can actually use with my kids. They can safely cut things in the kitchen and they love it. Strawberries, anything that is super easy for them to just kind of, press down safely and help me cut. And then also this for shredding meat. I use it all the time, shredding lettuce. Those are some of my favorite things. And so, so if I'm going to pass it back on to Carrie to talk about the recipe. I don't know if you could see it okay on your screen, but this is this what you're going to show us?
It is.
Awesome.
So you brought up some of my favorite products as well. So the mix and chop is our browning ground beef. We're going to use it at the end of this recipe. I know the recipe as printed shows chicken. We're going to deviate a little bit, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But that deep covered baker, Julia, y'all got to try the Alfredo sauce in that. You start with some milk and a little bit of salt, press the sauce setting, and go. And it will turn that into Alfredo sauce with fresh Parmesan. It's amazing, and we're not even buying jarred stuff anymore. So love that blender actually cooks versus warming, which is what some other high-powered blenders do. But that's a whole different episode, right?
I'm so hungry right now. It's not even fair.
I know, right?
Wait, and if you're watching, if you want any of the recipes that we're talking about, please feel free to either grab my name from Facebook and send me a message and say, hey, I saw you. Please send me this recipe, or please send me some more dinner recipes. Or goodness, I just want to host a party and get more recipes for me and my friends. But tonight we're going to make a really fun, easy recipe. This recipe I chose because of its extreme versatility. It's more of a formula type of thing. I know there's some folks that look at recipes and they're like, I have to make it exactly the way it says. I have to follow every single ingredient to the exact number. But this recipe is more of a formula for making dinner really, really easy. So for those of you that have a multi-cooker, the quick cooker is the Pampered Chef one. It has 16 functions, including a bread proofing. Listen, I think this is like an assistant in my kitchen. So if you're already feeling like, oh my gosh, I just can't do one more thing each day, you're maybe feeling stressed out as the kids are getting ready for back to school because you know that your time is going to change yet again. And whether they're doing brick and mortar or going to be at home, you know that your days are going to be different this school year. So having some great recipes and things on hand that you know you can make easily and versatilely is going to be a great strategy for you. So over the past few months, we've encountered things that most of us have never grown up with, like not having certain meats in the grocery store or certain ingredients that we might be looking for. So this recipe uses chicken and salsa, jarred salsa. We're actually going to use ground beef tonight because we're just exchanging the amount of meat and the weight, And we're going to have a similar thing, but we're going to have ground beef instead of the chicken salsa. So I've already put the ground beef in here. Of course, I'm a really good mom and did not defrost it because I'm busy all day. So I just grabbed the frozen ground beef out and stuck it into the quick cooker already. You can see it in there. Didn't want to bore you with that detail, but let's grab the rest of our stuff so you can see how fast this recipe goes together. Of course, on a regular night, I'm not laying all my ingredients out in advance, but for you all, I did. I already went ahead and I measured 1 cup of salsa, and we're just going to dump that in straight into our pan. Whenever you're using a multi-cooker like the quick cooker, you want to have at least a cup of liquid for everything that you're cooking. And basically, you usually use about 2 pounds of meat and 1 cup of liquid. That's the basic formula for using any product like this, and especially a product like this that can be your assistant in the kitchen. The next thing we're going to add to this recipe is some garlic. Now, if you've been around Pampered Chef at all, you know that you don't even have to peel your garlic with our garlic press, and our garlic press is such a super popular product. So it makes this job really easy. What a great shortcut, right? No need to peel. So I just stuck 2 cloves of garlic in there. And now I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit so you can see this onion a little better. This is a giant onion, okay? Most recipes, they call for a small onion or a medium onion. So I don't need all of this in this recipe. I'm going to just cut the ends off, as you do, and then slice my onion in half. I'm actually going to go ahead and quarter it again because I'm going to put it in my food chopper, but that just makes it easy to get that other layer off. The other trick I recently learned is to use a citrus peel to get the skin off of your onion. How easy is that? So get less onion on your hands. And to keep, because I'm always kind of looking for those shortcuts and ways to make not only cooking easier, but to not waste as many things in the kitchen, I'm going to go ahead and chop up this whole onion right now, even though I'm not using it all. I'll then take the other part that I'm not using and either stick it in a baggie in the freezer or put it in one of my 1 cup prep bowls so that I can just grab it out the next time I want to make something with onions this week, because I know it seems like onions are in every single recipe. So here's that food chopper. This is another super iconic Pampered Chef product. For any of you that are watching that have like seen anything Pampered Chef, you're like, oh, I know that thing. It's a great stress reliever at the end of the day. It also makes chopping onions super easy. Notice no tears, right? So we're just getting our onion all nicely chopped up. Notice that I'm not like picking this up and moving every time I'm hitting it. The blade automatically turns around for you, which again makes it really easy. And if one of my kids walked in right now and wanted to help me cut up the onion, no problem. They can give it a couple hits and they've helped with dinner, right? All right, so there's half of our onion, and I'm gonna go ahead and just scoop that in using our flexible mat and honestly the edge of the food chopper, and just stick that in there. And we'll go ahead and cut up the rest of that onion in just a second after we're done, after we get this going. So this is our Southwest seasoning. I'm using our measuring spoons to put in a tablespoon of our Southwest seasoning. It's just going to give it some more flavor. Notice that our measuring spoons fit perfectly down into the container, so I'm not spilling and making a mess on my kitchen counter with extra seasoning all over the place. Now I'm just going to kind of double check my recipe. I do skip the jalapeno in this recipe. It's not my family's favorite. I do have kids that are ages 4 through 13, so we have a variety of tastes and a variety of preferences. For us, taco night is like the guarantee meal. Everybody eats that in our house, so we can put this together and know that at least one night a week, everybody's going to be happy. So super easy. Once we get everything done, all we're going to do is put the lid back onto the quick cooker, turn it on, and we can walk away. We can go do whatever else whatever else it is that we need to do on our normal evening. Really nice, right? So there's our onion that we've cut up. I'm going to go ahead and move this back behind me. Hopefully not drop it. All right, and then I think you can see this nicely here. Let me see if I can angle it so that you can see the toner. All right, so because this is a pressure cooker, we have a few safety features. One is our handles are down here. So you're not tempted to put your hands up here where the steam comes out, where there's pressure. If you ever have to move it, your handles are down here, which is a safety feature to protect you. We also have our steam release up here. So this is when our food is done cooking, we're either going to quick release it or naturally release it. This one is a quick release. So as soon as it beeps at the end, we're going to release the pressure and we'll be ready to check out our food. The other thing is these are our different functions that we have. Remember I mentioned that there's 16 different functions on this. So we're actually going to do the ground beef function on this. And then it's telling me 35 minutes. I don't need 35 minutes for this recipe. I need much less. So I'm going to reduce that time. Remember I said that my ground beef is frozen. So in our handy dandy guide, so this is another thing that really makes us have a lot of confidence in the kitchen is Pampered Chef does all of its own tricks. We have a test kitchen that perfects these recipes and shares how to make the food that you want to make with confidence. And instead of just including recipes, we have things like this cool little chart that tells you what to do with different meats in the pressure cooker, including how long to cook them from frozen. Nice, right? Because Pampered Chef accepts that there's not everybody cooks fresh meat or remembers to defrost their meat. So this one's about 12 to 14 minutes. So I'm gonna leave it at that 14 because I did put 2 pounds in there. And I'm just gonna press start. It's beeping, that tells me it's getting going. And then we're just gonna walk away and it's gonna do the work. Now, one of the funny things about pressure cookers is even though I just said 15 minutes or 14 minutes, it's gonna take it a little bit of time to heat up. So as it builds to pressure, we can go do other things. We're probably gonna have about 20 to 25 minutes before this is gonna beep again and tell us that it's ready. So that is our very simple, easy recipe that's a formula as well to kind of give y'all some permission to get creative in the kitchen. When you see a recipe and you're like, okay, I have most of those ingredients, what can I substitute? What can I do differently to get this meal on the table and get it done nice and easy? So I would love to know if you guys decide to try this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. You made it look super easy, and I think it is.
It really is. I mean, imagine if you weren't talking through it, right? Like, or replace my words with, stop doing that to your brother and don't go over there.
No, seriously. I've had some really similar recipes too, where I just threw meat in and then I put the sauce on afterwards, just threw in garlic or onion, and it tasted amazing. All my kids, and they're picky eaters too. My kids loved the meat that I put in there. So,
and a great thing about this with picky eaters is because you can serve it in a tortilla, you can serve it on a salad, you can serve it on tortilla chips or a soft burrito shell. You can kind of let them build their own, and then they feel a little more involved in the process, and it just makes it go so much more smoothly.
That's so cool.
It's not hard to personalize it.
Thanks for doing that.
I am so here for the spicy. Just want to add that. I'm here for the spicy.
The only thing I regret is that we can't be there to sample it, right? No, just kidding.
We need some smell-o-vision or taste-o-vision.
I know. So I can go to the next few slides, which you cover some tips.
Absolutely. So we were talking about ways to help families kind of make it through, some great strategies. And I know that sometimes when I say meal planning, people have like this reaction and they tense all up and they're like, I can organize like big companies, I can organize high profile people, but I cannot handle meal prep. Like having a meal schedule is just like, it makes them want to run away. So I want to encourage you to be empowered to not run away from a little bit of meal planning, and encourage you that all you have to do is take a little step in the right direction. So I have 4 main strategies for meal planning. And the first one is to have a daily theme. So yes, we've just thrown up on the screen 7 different daily themes, but I can promise you that in my home, we did not get to a full week of meal planning overnight. When I started staying home with kids, it seemed like it should really be my job to have a meal idea for every single night. I mean, why do they want to eat dinner every single night? Every day this question would come up, and I know it, like, you might not believe me, but my husband would be coming home from work, and he would, or be getting ready to leave work, and he would call me around 3:30, 3:45 before his last meeting just to check in and say, hey, what are we doing for dinner tonight? Do you need me to stop and get anything at the store? How's things going? And he was really being so sweet. But I knew that that call was coming every single day, and I started to have like an anxiety attack every single day. And just because I knew he was going to ask, and I knew I had no idea. So we started to keep my first step was to keep some basics on hand, right? I always had frozen chicken. I always had frozen ground beef. I always had frozen broccoli. A big staple at the time when I first started trying to make meals was Campbell's condensed soup. Let me tell you, if you have a bag of broccoli, some frozen chicken, and a can of cheese soup, you can do a lot of things. Just throw all that stuff in a pan and put it in the oven for an hour and you'll be fine. But we grew out of that, like I said, and we grew out of chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. We grew out of the beige food groups mostly because I started to really feel bad about it. And I had to come up with a plan because I realized that this anxiety was self-induced, mostly because I didn't have a plan. And I think when folks acknowledge that you really can get over that stress. If you don't want to go out to eat dinner every night or don't want to be picking up takeout, you don't have to. There are some very simple meals that you can make at home just to get started and to grow. And it really starts with just picking one night. So we started with Monday nights for pasta, and that was it. So all I knew then was that Monday night I was making something pasta. It was usually spaghetti and meatballs. That's easy. Everybody loved it. And I knew that it was done. But if I wanted to get creative and make a baked ziti or something else, I could, because Monday night was pasta. But it took all the other options off the table, which was very freeing. So once I got Monday night done, a couple weeks later, I'm like, hey, let's tackle Tuesday. So we started taco night. As I already mentioned, that's like, I tried to eliminate taco night last fall by having a whole month calendar of food, like menus, and I let my daughter do it. And then they rebelled. Like they totally were like, they wanted taco night back. So we brought taco night fully back. So Tuesday night is tacos or taco something. So once we got that done, then we started like wanting to actually try some new recipes. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like I've gotten some confidence. I'm making food and I want to make more food. So Wednesday became new recipe night. Now it's the night that my daughter knows that she can take over and cook dinner if she wants. So sometimes it's breakfast for dinner on Wednesdays, but I don't care. It's not me cooking.
That is awesome. I'm not quite there yet.
We can get you there. So we would do a new recipe, and then, but if you can just get those 3 days planned, y'all, it is life changing. Yeah. Even if you just get Monday and Tuesday planned, it's so much easier and so much more fun on Tuesday to be like, okay, listen, we're going out for tacos, than it is to be like, okay, we got to go figure out somewhere to go for tacos because it's Tuesday and we don't have any plans for dinner at home.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Carrie, because I could relate where I felt like I was the only one who dreaded, and I would be in the zone with work or whatever it is. And my husband will be like, hey, what's for dinner? And I'm like, I don't know. Can you figure it out, please? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Or, like I'll throw something quick, or can we just order takeout? So I also figured out a routine that was very similar where I'm going to plan cooking 2 meals and then maybe have a spontaneous one, a third one or so, and then do some takeout a couple times. And I cook enough to have leftovers. And I love how you have a leftover night too.
Yeah, we call, I think everybody's favorite night here is Thursday because it's leftover or planned overnight. I feel like when you call them planned overs, it's way more empowering because you did it on purpose. And I will generally make a little more than I know we need for every meal. And then Thursday is leftover / planned overnight. It's also sometimes called fend for yourself night. So if we don't have enough leftovers, they can have whatever they want. They can have cereal for dinner. They can have yogurt for dinner. As long as they don't act like fools, they can have ice cream for dinner. I mean, whatever. Like, just feed yourself because I am not working tonight. They're going to be so excited that they have an actual meal tonight that it's not leftovers because we're making this awesome salsa.
And my other go-to has been making a lot of rice because my kids love rice. So I use the quick cooker or my other rice cooker and make a ton of rice. And I love how it also can make a lot of brown rice in a short amount of time because it takes forever to cook. So that has been my staple. And then the kids could just add whatever they'd like to it. But yeah, I mean, if you want me to go to the next item too, I know you have more tips to go.
Yep, absolutely. This is really the heavy strategy. This is the heaviest strategy for kind of meal planning and getting ahead and taking some of the stress out. And I love what you said with the rice. Like, it's just as easy to make 4 cups of rice at one time as it is to make 2. And so when you go ahead and you do that in advance and you stick it in the fridge, I mean, you can buy those bags of rice there, 90-second rice that you stick in the microwave. But if you flip those over and look at the back, the amount of stuff in those is incredible. Yeah. And just so much sodium and so many things that you don't really want to eat a lot of, that when you go ahead and you buy the big bag of rice for the same cost as one of those little bags and you make more in advance, it's so much better for you. And kids love rice bowls. They can assemble it, they can put everything together, right? It's really fun. So with getting through your week, just start with 1 week and get it done. And then maybe plan your next week. Maybe set on your calendar on Friday, you're sitting in the office, you're getting your stuff wrapped up from the week, and have just a little to-do item of sketch out some meals for next week so that if you're grocery shopping on the weekends, you know what you need to grab. You can add that stuff to your list and just have an idea. Like I said, if you can plan Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday's dinners, you will feel on top of the world. It'll take so much stress out of your day. You actually won't know what to do with that extra time because you're so used to being stressed out about that decision that one of the hardest parts of being an adult would be deciding what to eat for dinner every single day, right?
Seriously. I mean, it was easier to manage on our own, right? When we took care of ourselves, but then when we have to take care of feeding others, that's when it gets really stressful. And then you have to clean more. Right. Chrissy's like, oh.
And that's one of the side effects of meal planning is all of a sudden you don't have as many extra dishes. Because when you know on Monday that you're going to need an onion again on Tuesday and you cut it up all at once, you don't have to get those dishes out the next day. It's like this crazy side effect that happens as you start to look around. You're like, wait a minute, there was less dishes today. There was, this got better and better. This is all sizzling over here. You guys, you should smell it.
Ooh, I wish I could smell it. Well, I'm glad you brought that up too, because one of the things that I wanted to also help address is because I'm sure parents are super overwhelmed about all of these things they need to pretty much adjust to, even though it was during the summer. It's been 4 months or so since the shutdowns. And now school, again, now we have to worry about, homeschooling the kids if we have to keep them home or whatnot. However, you guys are planning the rest of your semester. So with meal planning, like what have you found to be effective for you? Like planning ahead in the week when the kids are down, like practically what do you find most helpful? I try to keep it as simple as possible for myself. That's how I've managed now.
So we have definitely been in the limp along category especially this last month, right? I'll be honest, we've had the decision fatigue that everybody else has had with not knowing what's going to happen next and just trying to figure out. But I've come to realize again and make myself get to just be like, okay, listen, you need to make a meal plan. You can at least do that. And getting back to our formula, and it's made such a difference in the last couple of weeks, just knowing what we're going to be kind of generally cooking. I think that it's easiest if you just, if you don't want to write it down and commit that you're going to have, I don't know, chicken Parmesan on Wednesday as a new recipe, but you just know that you want to find a new recipe, then do that. But, you can decide every day if that's where your comfort zone is. But having that formula and going ahead and even just planning week by week is going to it's going to empower you to start to plan more. You're going to be like, all right, I got 1 week down. Let me try 2. And you very quickly realize that if you just sit down for a month and okay, my family has to have tacos every week. And you write that down on Tuesday every day and you're like, okay, Mondays, our favorite pasta recipes are spaghetti and meatballs and baked ziti. So you just kind of alternate those. Now you've already got 8 days figured out of the month. There's only 22 days left. 4 of them are Sundays. So, presumably an easy day to make dinner together as a family or do something different. Saturday, again, another kind of easy day because most of us aren't working in an office from 9 to 5 on a Saturday. So that's another 4 days. Now we're halfway through the month. We only have 8 more decisions to make. And 4 of those are going to be leftover nights. So now you're down to 4 decisions for an entire month. When you start to look at it that way, you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. And I have a 13-year-old. So I gave her the calendar one day and I said, here you go. Go fill this up with recipes for the week. And I gave her the family formula and she was like, okay. And she had it done in 5 minutes. I was like, how did you do that? But they have no prejudices like we do, right? They're not going, well, what if I don't want to eat that on that night? They're not used to making those decisions every night. We are. They just eat what we feed them. So she was all excited that she got to plan the month of dinners and asked her siblings. She had a consensus food calendar. It was really kind of cool.
I need to do that
once
in a while.
Listen, employ your kids. If there's a job you don't want to do, let them try it. I mean, they may not do it the same way as you, but if they get any of it done, that's better than the nothing you had done, right?
Right. And there's been a couple times where, of course, I have them in a routine right now. That's what's also saved us, kind of just cleaning in the morning, making sure they don't do screen time all day. But as far as meal planning, when we do take out, I'll ask them each to pick. They have a turn to pick. And then also for actual cooked meals, then each one has a turn. But I need to just get them in front of a calendar and we all just kind of plan it out together. I think that's a great family exercise.
Yeah, and if you include them along the way, I guess I found that tip when I started doing Pampered Chef, and it was like, listen, if your kids are always under your feet and you're like, oh, every time you have to cook, find something for them to do, even if it's organizing something over there or pouring water from one measuring cup to another next to you, and then start to let them try new things. My little kids, they all start with baking is really the easiest thing.
Yes.
I give them a box of whatever, a box of cake mix, a box of muffin mix, whatever they want to make. And we talk about the different measuring cups. You know, it kind of just happens that they're applying math. And we also apply leadership skills. The oldest kid usually gets to tell the other kids, okay, so now we're going to crack the egg. Here's how you do it. And they learn things piece by piece. And I'll tell you the other side of that is the moment that they stop listening, that they aren't following your rules in the kitchen, because they might not be using a knife with the mixing bowl set, right? But down the road, you're going to want to introduce them to knife stuff. But you want them to be able to listen in the kitchen and that to be your standard. So if you take a box mix away and put it in the sink or put it in the garbage, you'll only do it once. And that might sound harsh, but it's like, listen, we cannot fight in the kitchen. We cannot not listen to each other. We have to talk and communicate, and one person is in charge. And you won't have problems after that in the kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
Or make
I've
them
had lots of dramatic situations happen with me trying to get the kids to cook together. So I'm taking my baby steps with them as each one will take turns helping me. And then, there's been a couple of times where they were able to bake okay in peace, like, and have fun.
Good. That's good. It's a lot.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I have your third strategy item.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, but cooking with kids is a long process, but it does pay off. So make sure that you keep doing that. That's awesome. So the third strategy is, this is like real meal prepping. And this is something that's even extra valuable in a time like this past summer when you might have been only going to the store once every 2 weeks, especially at the beginning of COVID, right? And you were trying to really reduce the number of trips you were taking, but still eat well at home. So freezer meal menus are generally a list of recipes, and this isn't leftovers. This is another planning technique where you buy a whole grocery list at one time. We never use all of these in 1 week. This would be like, if I did a 7-meal menu, that would be basically for a month, maybe a little bit longer. This might just be all of my Wednesday meals, right? So our freezer meal menus with Pampered Chef, they include the seasonings. So basically you purchase your seasonings and then you get your recipes, you get a shopping list that's organized by section. Yay. You get some prep directions, you get some serving suggestions, and of course you get me. You get some help with figuring out what to do with those. And this is just an example of the 7 meal menus that we have. And then I also have a whole list of 10 meal menus. So I love providing this service to folks. It's a great way, again, to get a kid in the kitchen with you, especially a teen or preteen, it's a great activity to do with them. I know I'm always looking for things that I can do with my kid that don't involve me telling her no repeatedly.
I know, me too. And then you've had workshops too, where you did it all at once and with people, and that's fun. I mean, I like that. And you're all set for a month and a half or 2.
I love doing those and having 6 to 8 people in my kitchen. I look forward to when we're able to do that again and have everybody together. I'm actually considering doing a virtual freezer meal workshop.
Sign me up.
I think that would be a lot of fun. And just have everybody kind of plan to meet. What gets scheduled is what gets done, right? So if we can set that time to prep those meals and just have those ready to go, it makes such a difference in our life.
And I have your 4th item here.
Yep. So put your slow cooker to work. That's actually our Rock Crock with slow cooker base. That product the Rock Crock itself is extremely versatile. It goes on your stove, in your oven, under your broiler, in your microwave, in your dishwasher, on your backyard grill, and then it has that cool shiny crock pot base. So, every time you've ever thought about making that roast in the slow cooker, but you've skipped it because of that searing step that you didn't want to do, you can put this Rock Crock straight on the stove, do your searing, and then move it over to the slow cooker base. Such a convenient product. Again, reducing the number of dishes, You can put your leftovers straight in the fridge in it. But I love this, especially now while so many people are working from home, because you probably have that little lull, some lull in your morning, some little pocket of time that you can sneak over into the kitchen and dump a bunch of stuff into the crock pot and then walk away from it, and then it's ready when you are. Similar thing with the quick cooker here. It will keep your food warm until you're ready. So I love using this for my busiest days when we do get back to dance and soccer and scouts and all of the other stuff that's going to get us back out of the house more in the evening. And I don't love fast food as a have to. I don't mind fast food as a want to and an occasional thing, but I hate feeling like I have to drive and sit in that line and spend $50 for food that's going to still make my kids crabby and cranky, when if I can have dinner ready at 4:00 between the events, can get them some food, and then they can come home and have more food after, I'll do that anytime.
And then the other thing that has helped me too is I'll throw in some Trader Joe's meals. Those are lifesavers too. Like the pre-prepped frozen ones, or like, pre-prepped anything. That's like my go-to as well as a backup. Sorry. No, and I also wanted to mention, I did share the Facebook group link for the event that you helped set up for me.
Cool.
And those who might not have time to participate in that event, you can always shop directly online, right? For some of those products.
Absolutely. And would love to help you guys get things in your kitchen. I mean, when you're doing any of these tips or strategies in getting started, like, give yourself some grace. Just give yourself permission to try some new things, and that it might not work. Like, we have a giant bag of chicken nuggets in the freezer all the time in case something we try doesn't work out or we run out of time. But give yourself some grace. Know that some nights you're not going to want to follow that meal plan, and you might want to change it. But it's way more fun to change plans when you have plans. And then, the third thing, of course, is you've got to have the right tools. If you're struggling to do meal prep with a bad knife or cookware that doesn't work, that always burns things, a sure sign is if you have a square pan and it only cooks in the center that's over the burner, you have a bad pan, guys. You need to get a good pan that distributes heat evenly. It's not you that's a bad cook, it's your pan. Yeah. And it got really dark outside, so sorry the lighting changed so much in here.
No, it's fine. It's so funny that you blame it on the pan, not the chef. I agree. I'm with
most
you
of the time it really is the is that too bright now? Most of the time it really is the pan, or it really is the knife. If you're like struggling to cut something or to prep, you shouldn't be struggling. It's probably that your tools need to be replaced or upgraded. If you picked them up at a discount store, they're probably not the best thing to still have in your kitchen as a grown-up. Those are perfect. They're perfect starter pieces. And, when you're just making grilled cheese and making maybe an egg, but as you get, as you're trying to prepare for a family and your time is more limited, you really want things that you can depend on. So, making those upgrades will really change your life.
Thank you so much, Carrie. This is awesome. I don't know if Chrissy has some questions she wants to throw your way.
I have a comment. I have a question and a comment. But I first want to say you definitely want to have the tools during a pandemic, right? So,
absolutely.
Come on. But also, as far as, have you figured out how much time that you've saved with making sure you have the proper tools and doing the meal prepping? Have you figured out how much time you've saved to be able to spend that time with your family?
Not on a large scale, but even like right now, I mean, if my kids were here in the kitchen, I would be able to hang out with them this whole time that this meal's been cooking, versus trying to manage over the stove, or trying to figure out at the last minute, trying to drag everybody through Publix to grab some last minute ingredients, all of those things. So I think on the daily, it surely saves an hour or so, right? With just the decision-making process and trying to make sure that we have everything and going from there.
Ooh,
there's our beef. So it definitely has saved that time. The money I've saved, I'm sure, is just, it's crazy.
No, and to add to that, for myself, the same. When I started planning less trips to the store, like it was like a headache for me in the beginning. Always going to the store for last minute stuff because I wasn't as organized and I didn't plan ahead, and even less times of cleaning every single night. So not having to clean as much, and even just like you said, Carrie, just the stress factor is like pretty much cut in half, or if not more. So that was also a big stress relief. And so I would say, like, planning ahead and getting everything prepped ahead of time just saves a tremendous amount of time for sure.
Have you noticed that your fridge stays cleaner?
Yes. Less random tiny containers in the back of the fridge, right?
Right. If you're buying food on purpose for what you're making, you don't have a bunch of extras either. So you end up actually using the things that you buy instead of throwing them away. And when you get the first level of meal planning is that theme, right? And having just those days picked out. The next level of meal planning is when you connect your meals. So on the first, on Monday, you make extra chicken so that you can use it on Wednesday. And then you really start to see, like, your fridge gets clean and it stays clean. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't have enough space in here before. And all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, you want to take pictures and post them on Facebook.
And you're not having to toss like wasted food, like you said. And the other thing too that I noticed with less trips to the store, I was not buying as many random things. I was not buying extra stuff. So my husband was a big fan of me having less trips to the store, obviously. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time to join us, Carrie. I really appreciate all the tips that you provided for us. I hope it's helpful for folks out there. This is going to be a recording that will be up on the page, so anyone who needs to refer to it anytime, and reach out to Carrie. We'll put your Facebook group if you want to share that link as well, just to follow Carrie, and she shares a lot of great tips all the time. Funny memes to connect with other moms and entertain other folks who cook in the kitchen. So please reach out to her or to me, even if you want any tips to manage a kitchen creatively and efficiently.
Oh, thank you so much.
So much fun. Cooking shows are my favorite.
Next time we'll have you all here.
I know. That'll be so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you join us for another Get Creative with JH Creative. She will make sure it's posted on the Facebook page. And everyone have a wonderful night and a healthy dinner. Bye.
Thank you.